Hello everyone, this is 05 and welcome to Playmates Exo toy review. And today's are you looking at the 1993 release by Playmates of the Exo Squad Mecha and Action Figure review. And today's Mecha and Action Figure review, looking at the Series 1 of the Aerial Attack E-Frame with its pilot Lieutenant J.T. Marsh. Now I got this straight from an online web store located in the US for $29.90. And as you can see here, it is mint in box with no missing parts or damaged parts at all, which is a really good deal compared to eBay sellers selling it minimum cost of $50 to $100 if it's mint in box, of course. You can still find it cheaper, but it tends to have missing parts there. So, to those who don't know what Exo Squad really is, Universal Cartoon Studios, there's a logo up at the corner here, produced this cartoon series called Exo Squad in 1993, and it lasted 3 seasons up until more than 54 episodes. I can't actually recall the actual number of episodes, but it's more than 54 episodes there, and it just died off in season 3 there. And the series is rather serious in tone. Basically, the storyline is simple. It's similar to the MechWarrior Animation's storyline, a little bit similar, where the humans on Earth has been invaded by this Neo-Sapiens, which is a race, a genetically engineered humans, which they are bigger and stronger than a normal human, invaded planet Earth and took over the whole planet itself. So the whole story premises about the squad, not the name of the squad as located the title there, but in the show itself, J.T. Marsh here, Lieutenant J.T. Marsh, leads the squad called Able Squad to try to retake back planet Earth. Now the story itself is rather serious in tone. There's a lot of serious drama going on, political drama going on, romance as well. There's a lot of emotional drama going on as well. There's a lot of deaths as well. And a lot of things in this series itself is not really suitable for kids back during that time, which is kind of funny. Because Universal Cartoon Studios, who churned this series out, is a little bit too ambitious. And the cartoon itself for Exo Squad is a little bit ahead of its time. If it actually released nowadays, it might be successful, but it wasn't very successful during 1993, and not a lot of kids actually liked the show being so serious, but they actually liked the toys itself. However, the series died off in probably 1995 or 1996 there, around that years there. So it's kind of sad. Not a lot of people actually know about the Exo Squad series. Now, let's take a look at the front portion of the packaging itself. We have a really nice artwork style of the Aerial Attack E-Frame being piloted by Lieutenant J.T. Marsh, and the frame itself, the E-Frame, is flying through the skies, firing the torpedoes, the pulse rifle here, and on the other side we have the Exo gun, which is being fired as well. Very nice. And the background itself is mostly in red because they're in a war there, but there's a bit of glimpse of the buildings in the shadows itself. At the bottom is more clearer, a little bit clearer, one of the highway or maybe one of the transit railways that has been destroyed on one section there. In the background there's a lot of fire going on at the bottom there. Here we have another character also in the Able Squad. It's actually piloted by Alex De Leon, and he's piloting the field communications E-Frame. Very nicely done. Here we have a small description on the toy's function. We have the Exo spring powered turbo torpedoes, dual air/ground action wings, glowing neo blasting pulse laser, and Exo gun with firepower sound. At the bottom here we have the images of the actual toy itself. We have the J.T. Marsh figure and the Aerial Attack E-Frame. Now at the bottom section is about the same thing as from the front portion of the packaging itself. So that's on the sides here. So there's nothing special there. However, you can actually lift up the box like so, and you can see a little bit more stuff on this section of the cover itself. Top section that actually stated how the E-frame actually works, and here we have a smaller instruction sorry for the glare, smaller instruction on how to place the figure and load the missiles and activate some of the features. Here we have the actual toy itself behind the window. We have the Aerial Attack E-Frame toy, the missiles and some of the attachment accessories, and the figure J.T. Marsh down with his own weapon accessories. Very nice. On the back portion of the packaging itself, the top section there is a smaller write-up on the storyline itself, which I already explained. And here we have the rest of the lineup for Series 1. We have Typhonus with high-speed stealth E-Frame, Phaeton with command E-Frame, Alec DeLeon with field communications E-Frame, and finally we have, well, J.T. Marsh with the Aerial Attack E-Frame. Here's a smaller box stated coming soon in '94. Exo Squad video game. Yes, there's actually a video game based on the series itself, which you can see it in YouTube. Here we have a text spec for the, well, Aerial Attack E-Frame with all the techno babble itself. And at the bottom section there is a small little profile card for Lieutenant J.T. Marsh. You got a smaller image of Lieutenant J.T. Marsh based on the animation itself, and also the Aerial Attack E-Frame image as well, also based on the animation. Top section there stated name J.T. Marsh, rank Lieutenant, assignment Squad Leader or Air Assault, general purpose Exo frame model number AA-500, type Falcon Aerial Attack Exo frame, birth planet Earth. Dossier, a rough and tough squad leader with natural instincts, brilliant combat strategist who never met a rule he didn't break. No leader ever cared more about his men and less about rank. Always willing to get down and dirty to get the job done. Flies his Aerial Attack E-Frame with the same resin abandon that he fights the Neo-Sapiens. Within seconds of a battlefield, or battle alert, JT is firing up his anti-gravity jet, snapping his wings into flight position and rocketing into the sky with weapon systems fully armed. His mission: save mankind from certain destruction. The combined assault of his turbo torpedoes, pulse laser and exogun can cause destruction on a devastating scale. Very nice. So, without further ado, let's open up this box and molest the figures. Be right back. And we're back, and this time we'll take a look at the J.T. Marsh figure here. But first things first, let's take a look at the figure's accessories. Now, the figure only comes with 2 accessories, and one of them is this smaller piece of accessory. Now, to those, well, who wondered, yes, this is a handheld weapon. Well, technically, in the animation itself, this 2 barrels itself sort of folds from underneath J.T. Marsh, well, hands itself. So he basically wields it on the handle itself, and this 2 handle is from the top and bottom of his hand, and that's his weapon that shoots out laser. There's not a lot of details there, and the entire thing is made of a green plastic material color with no paint job at all. The figure is well suited to help, well, to wield this weapon onto the right hand. Now the other weapon is his rifle, also made of the same green plastic material color, and the entire thing here, as you can see, there's a lot of nice details. They got a handle at the bottom, they got a stock at the back, really large stock. You got a trigger here, the clip, the magazine clip for the weapon itself. The top section there is the scope, got a barrel at the end there as well. Now the plastic quality for the laser rifle here is a bit, well, a little bit soft, well, especially onto the handle itself. You can actually bend it a little bit, so I suggest not to, well, cause too much stress onto the handle. It will break sooner or later. The figure can actually wield it more properly onto the left hand. And that's about it with the figure's accessory. Let's take a look at J.T. Marsh paint job. Now, impressively enough, this figure has a lot of nice colors being painted onto it. Now, the body itself, not counting the head, the entire body is made of the same green plastic material color that you find onto the accessories, except this is more darker in green. As you can see there, more darker in green. The head itself is made of a light gray plastic material color, and As you can see, there's a lot of colors being painted onto the figure itself. The entire head here is painted with the flesh tone skin. The top section of the head, the hair has been painted in black, and the back portion of the head itself, the black stripes is actually his hairstyle. The people in the future actually has that kind of hairstyle. Eyebrows, the eyes, and the pupils are also painted. Eyebrows and pupils are painted in black, and the eyes is painted in white. Very nice. The torso section, the chest area here has been painted in beige color throughout the back as well, and the strap is painted in red. So does the rivets on the side is painted in red as well, and the star logo here is painted in red. Belt is also painted in red as well, all the way to the back. Now, one side of the shoulder itself is a pouch which is painted in yellow. The other side is a padding or a badge that's painted in yellow as well. So that's the strappings onto the upper bicep. The gloves itself, both of the gloves are painted in beige color. The thigh section, the paddings and the straps all the way to the back is also painted in yellow. There's a bit of color fading there. And the lower section of the boots is painted in beige. And that's about it with the paint job, which is very nicely done with the paint job there. There's a lot of nice details for such a small figure. And speaking of the size itself, the figure is actually 2.5 inch tall, way shorter than the 3.25 inch vintage G.I. Joe figure, way more shorter than the 30th anniversary figures or the G.I. Joe Renegade figures, as you can see there, comparing the sizes itself. So a small little figure with a lot of nice paint details. And let's take a look at the figure's mold itself. Now the figure does look very well, resembles very well to the Exo Squad animation series for J.T. Marsh here. Very nice. His facial expression there is quite nicely sculpted. Nose, mouth there, dimples, side of the ears. It has a very flat top hairstyle for a future hairstyle, as you can see there. Even this black stripe there, the individual stripes are also molded as well. Here is a small little hole here that's meant for the Cyberlink jackpot, when you can find the pot itself from the E-frame, the Aerial Attack E-frame, and then you can connect it at the back portion of the figure's hole here. There's also a little bit of a cable leads straight up to the pot itself. Very nice. You got the strap itself, pouches, one side of the shoulder here, there's rivets, there's padding, a small little padding on this side as well, small little star logo on one corner here. A lot of nice details. It actually has 4 packs on this abdomen area. Even at the belt, there's a belt buckle, pouches. Very nice, very well detailed. Each side of the arm here, one side is I would assume a badge, the other side is an obvious pouch. As you can see, more straps and pouches on the upper bicep arm. Got the gloves. Even the gloves at the back portion of the glove, both sides of the gloves is also quite different on their molds itself. As you can see, very well done. The thigh section, you got paddings, and then lower section of the legs itself, it's boots. Very well done. In the back portion or the side of the legs itself, there's pouches as well. Very well done with the details of the mold itself for such a small figure. Very nice. Now let's take a look at the figure's articulation. The figure's articulation shared heavily onto the vintage G.I. Joe articulation, with one minus articulation. But first things first, the neck joint here can actually turn left and right. It's not on a ball joint. Shoulder joint here can turn 360 degrees and lift the arms this high. Elbow joint here can bend this far. back a little bit and turn 360 degrees. No wrist joint, of course. No torso and waist joint. That's the one of the joint articulation that is missing compared to a vintage G.I. Joe figure. You got a hip joint here that moves forward. It tends to spread apart, as you can see that, but still it can still move forward, back a little bit, and to the sides. Knee joint that's bent this far, and no ankle articulation. Very nice. Now let's fully equip J.T. Marsh with his weapons. For a small figure, this is a very well done design here. There's a lot of nice paint job onto the figure itself. There's a lot of nice details onto the mold. Accessory wise, it's not really that impressive. Then again, this is a 90s toy anyway. But still, very well done with the figure. If I'm gonna give a rating out of this, I say, despite that the weapons are not painted, then again, our current 30th anniversary figures, the accessories are not painted as well. I say I'll give it a very nice 9 out of 10. Yes, a 9 out of 10 for the figure. The problem with the figure is that the hip joints here, it tends to sway apart quite far ahead, and it uses a sort of a peg system that, as you can see, the hip joints here is a bit loose. It doesn't screw on compared to a vintage G.I. Joe figure, because as you can see here, the thigh joint here is screwed on, and for the hip joint there's a small tiny little peg. So they actually have two pins to snap on to lock the peg joint onto the hip joint there securely, so it doesn't fall off. This one just pops it right into the peg itself. So in the future, if you keep on playing around with the hip joint itself, it will tend to loosen up and it will pop off quite easily, or even worse, because the peg itself is made of plastic, it will break. So that's one of the bad points using a plastic peg joint there. But still, 9 out of 10 for J.T. Marsh figure is very nice. Next up, let's take a look at the Aerial Attack E-Frame. Be right back. And we're back. This time we'll take a look at the Aerial Attack E-Frame. But first things first, let's take a look at the figure's instruction manual that came along in the packaging itself. Now, what's interesting to note is that on one side of the instruction manual is actually a weapon assessment for all 4 E-frames that appear in the Series 1. We have the Field Communications E-frame's weapon specs, the Aerial Attack E-frame on one side for all his weapon specs. At the bottom is the High Speed Stealth E-frame's weapon specs, and finally Phaeton's Command E-frame weapon specs. And on the other side of the instruction manual, and it's not much of an instruction manual, it's just to show you where to place the accessory, how to place the figure onto the E-frame itself, and how to load the missiles and place in the accessories, the E-frame's accessories onto the E-frame itself. It doesn't actually show you where to place the sticker labels, because according to one side here, you basically can customize the E-frame with the sticker labels that's provided to you. And speaking of the sticker labels, there are 2 sets of them, which I did not apply onto the Aerial Attack E-frame. One of them is just an additional bit of warning labels or labels. And on the other side is just blank, and the other one is the battle damage. It shows you the bullet holes and cracks. Now, I did not apply any of the sticker labels onto the E-frame itself, because funny thing is that the figure already came along with his own sticker labels, so I don't feel the need to actually place additional sticker labels onto the E-frame anyway. Now let's take a look at the figure's accessories. First, we have his power cell. This is a power cell for the E-frame itself, made of a clear translucent plastic. There's a little bit of details there. As you can see, very nicely done. Because it's clear plastic, it's really hard to see the details properly, but you can actually place this at the back portion of the figure, which I'm going to demonstrate later. A pair of missile launchers, it's actually missile launchers, additional weapons for the E-frame, which plugs in on the side of the figure's knees, made of a, well, light blue plastic material color with no paint job at all. Then we have additional accessories for the E-frame itself. This is actually the E-frame's additional VTOL engines, the vertical takeoff engines, plug in at the lower section of the knees itself, made of a dark gray plastic material color. That's the peg there to plug in. As you can see, very simple details, nothing much to say about. And finally, we have his torpedo launchers here. These missiles made of a red plastic material color. As you can see, no paint job at all, but they actually place in the sticker label on the side here. Very nice. That's meant for the engines on the E-frame itself. As you can see there, they're both similar in design. And there you have it. That's all the accessories for the Aerial Attack E-frame. Now let's take a look at the figure's paint job. Now majority of parts of the figure's paint job is not actually painted at all. The body itself, majority of part of the body is made of a blue plastic material color, and all the joints that you see onto the figure itself is made of a red plastic material color, except for some certain parts like the missile here is actually painted. The wings here, there's a bit of camo paint job, but the joints such as the arms here or the inside of the joint here, the handle, the pistons joints here are all made of a red plastic material color. So that's the gun on the top, and also the joints for the hip itself made of a red plastic material color. There are some portions of the body that's also made with different types of plastic material color, like the Exo gun here, which is made of a dark gray plastic material color, the same plastic material color you find on the engines itself. We have also very light gray plastic material color on this section for the pulse laser. This is the pulse laser itself. This is the thing that holds the entire thing together. And speaking of the pulse laser, the windshield and the leg shields there, as you can see, is made of a clear yellow plastic material color. Not as yellow as the pulse laser, of course. Now, according to the box itself, it actually, well, they state that it glows. But when you look at it, it doesn't glow. But on a certain angle, like in the front here, it actually looks like it's glowing. As you can see, nothing. There's no glow in there. But when you look in the front, this section here glows. Very nicely done with this simple way of doing it. Very nice. Now, apart from all that, it does have a little bit of paint job, as I mentioned before. It's painted with camo paint job onto the wings itself, and so does the end portion of the wings. There's a bit of missile paint job here that's painted in red. There's a bit of sticker labels for the E-frame itself, like the engines here. Very nice. The logo on the wings itself. A bit of details of the sticker labels here for fire effects. You can see there's more sticker labels onto the pulse laser arm here, and how many it has been shot. Very nice. There's also sticker labels for the, some sort of power bar there. So that's on the other side as well. A bit of sticker labels inside the Exo gun. As you can see, there's also a bit of paint job onto this section as well. As you can see, painted a little bit of black, so that's the Exo Squad logo as well. Inside of the cockpit, if you want to call it that way, there's a lot of sticker labels. Here is stated J.T. Marsh. That's his own personal E-frame. Very nice. If that's not enough, there's more sticker labels located onto the inside of the legs itself, as you can see that. Very, very nice. So I don't feel the need to put more sticker labels when the figure already is laden with a lot of sticker labels. At the back portion is quite bare, so it looks kind of boring. No sticker labels there, but on the sides it looks very nicely done. So that's in the front. Now let's take a look at the figure's mold here. The mold is absolutely gorgeous. There's a lot of tiny little details that's quite surprising. You got a gun on the top here, as you can see, the laser gun on the top with an antenna that's about to break sooner or later. There's a bit of stretch mark on the top there. Two large engines, as you can see here, and wings. Each side of the engines there actually is a pair of wings there. Very nice. And underneath the wings, as you can see, there's a lot of missiles here. 3 missiles, small little missiles. Bit of engine details on the other side of the wings. More missile details here. Same goes on the other side as well. For the one side of the arm, as you can see here, I'm gonna lift all this up. Nice little details there. There's a bit of piston action on this section here to make it look very mechanical. Got nicer details on for the Exo gun here. For the other side of the arm, more difference on the mold itself. Both sides of the arms, the molds are quite different, as you can see here. Here we have the pulse laser weapon. Very nice details. I'm gonna bring it up closer a little bit, as you can see there. Very nicely done. Inside of the arms, we have a smaller handle for the figure to hold on to. The back portion of the E-frame itself, there's a lot of nice details as well. A lot of panelings as well. But here we have the shield cover for the E-frame to protect the pilot itself. You can see the details of the shield itself. The cover of the shield is very well done. But once you lift inside, that's where the inside of the cockpit looks very nice. However, from this section here, this entire piece is actually, well, as I mentioned before, it's made of a clear yellow plastic material color, but this section is actually painted in blue. Inside here, as you can see, the details is quite nicely done. Here we have the Cyberlink jack, as you can see. Here is a clip to clip onto the figure. We have a bit of details on the legs as well, and shields to cover the legs, the armor parts to cover the legs. Close this. Bottom section of the legs is also quite nicely done, especially on the ankle joint there. There's a bit of piston action as well. Very nice. Also at the bottom of the feet of the E-frame, what seems like wheels, but it doesn't turn because that's part of the joint itself. But still a nice little touch, but it's quite flat and bare. There's a lot of nice details for the figure. Very nicely done. Now let's take a look at the figure's articulation. Now first things first, the top section of the gun itself can actually move all the way to the front here, as you can see. Both sides of the wings can fold all the way up. The arms can move forward, and I'm going to move the handle first, and to the back this far. We have a elbow joint here that only bends this far, and this is as far as it can stretch. The handles for each of the arms itself can actually, rotate from the up all the way to the back. Very nice. The armor part here to cover the body actually is articulated. It only moves this far, it doesn't move all the way up, so placing the figure inside is quite a bit of a chore on that. Then we have a little bit of articulation for the shoulders here that goes inwards and outwards, as you can see. A bit of articulation for the leg armor parts that opens up and closes up like so. Very nice. And then we have the hip joints that move a little bit forward and straight. Not much of a difference there. And then we have the knee joint that bends only this far. And then ankle joint here, as you can see, there's a bit of piston action going on. It moves up slightly up and straight. And that's all there is for the articulation for the E-frame itself. First, let's try to place in all the accessories and demonstrate a little bit of its own gimmick. We place the VTOL engines on the side of the legs here and the missiles on the side of the knees. If you compare the figure to the prototype image shown in the box packaging, they look quite different. There's a bit of more detail shown in the box packaging compared to the actual figure. So we place the missiles first and load it up like so. We have the fusion cell here. This is where you place the fusion cell at the back portion of the E-frame. The most common part that get lost is the fusion cell, so you have to be really careful and place it in all the way inside. Now the E-frame is fully loaded up with all the accessories. First things first, there's a bit of articulation as well for the VTOL engines that turns 360 degrees, so that's the missiles itself. Here we have the Exo gun, and according to the box packaging itself, it makes, well, realistic gun sounds. But when you turn it 360 degrees, it makes this ratchety sound. So, well, it's something. Now for the turbine missiles here, what's interesting is that if you fold the wings all the way up, it will launch the missiles. So first things first, move it on the other side and fold the wings all the way up where it launched the missiles. And it fires pretty far and pretty hard too. Now here comes the hard part, placing the figure in the E-frame. Hence I'm not gonna put it while doing it while you watch, because that's gonna waste a lot of time. So we'll be right back once I put the figure into the E-frame. So be right back. And we're back, and this time Lieutenant J.T. Marsh is already in the E-frame itself, as you can see here. Because the most problematic part on placing a figure inside the E-frame is to have him hold the handle, because there's a little bit of space there and you have to fiddle around with it in order for the figure to be able to hold it properly. Now the figure is also jacked in with the cyber link, as you can see at the back here. And that's one of the parts that you have to be really careful about, because it's just this long peg there, plus the fact that the Cyberlink cable is also a really thin piece of plastic, so you have to be really extra careful and not put too much stress onto it, otherwise they'll break. So the figure is right now is already all jacked in, holding the handles quite well and sitting in the cockpit itself, as you can see here. So we fold the armor parts like so and place this on the sides like so, and we close this, and there you have it. Lieutenant J.T. Marsh is in the E-frame, and you get to see his face onto the windshield itself. Now with the figure holding the joystick of each of the arms itself, the articulation is limited a little bit, but still you can still bend the E-frame's elbows, but you cannot, well, turn the arms up that high, just onto this section here. You can point downwards, you can go side to side, but that's about it, because it's been a bit hindered by the articulation because the figure is holding the handle itself. But for the leg joints itself, it has no problem moving, as you can see there. Very well done there. Knee joints as well, as you can see, very nice. Overall, the figure is very well done for a 1993 release toy here. There's a lot of details there, a lot of sticker labels, very nice gimmick. Some of the gimmicks are very nice. I especially like the wing gimmick there. You can place the wings up until this high, and if you really want to launch it, all you have to do is just fold all the way up and it will launch the 2 missiles. Or you can just leave it like so, or just like in the animation, you can always fold it like so and place the wings all the way, covering the side of the E-frame itself as a shield. Very nicely done. Articulation is okay because, well, it is a 90s toy, but there's a lot of nice details, a lot of great details there. So if I'm gonna give a rating on this, I would say I'll give it a nice 9 out of 10. Yes, 9 out of 10 for the Aerial Attack E-Frame. And thank you all for watching. This is Lucy05 and I'm signing off.